Welcome to the Athletics Office. I'm your host, Brandon Weaver, with my co-host, Coach RC, and today we're joined by our girls' head soccer coach, Juan Castillo. Juan, thanks for joining us.
Well, thank you for the invitation.
Yeah, so tell us about your background and experience in coaching, kind of, starting out younger, and then what has led you here to today.
Okay, so I'm from Mexico. I moved up here 12 years ago.
Okay.
In Mexico, I was a dentist.
Oh, wow.
I did play soccer when I was growing up, and then I play in the pros. My father was a professional soccer coach.
Okay.
And, moving up here, I decided that I wanted to coach, and I started looking into, coaching and all that soccer.
Not to be a dentist anymore?
Well, I tried, but after like a year of trying and get it turned down, I wanted to just go and work, and they wouldn't let me. They said that I was overqualified.
Oh, wow.
So then I started to look into like maybe redo. The only option that I had was redo school.
Okay.
I had to take a program of 2 years.
Yeah.
And by then I have been in school like 12 years.
Yeah.
So I think I was done with dental school.
Yeah.
And I wanted something to start fresh, so soccer was the option.
Okay.
And I started coaching club at WSA in Tulsa, and then started my collegiate adventure, and then it led me eventually here at OCS.
Yeah. Well, awesome. Well, and then kind of along that journey, so obviously coinciding with that, your wife is our track and cross country coach. Mm-hmm. She gets a job here. You all are living in the Tulsa area at the time, but you had been driving, right?
Yeah. 4 years I was commuting. First 2 years in Tonkawa at NOC, and then 2 years here at SCU in Bethany.
Yeah.
So that was
How long was that drive?
It's like an hour and 45 minutes one way. Yeah.
So you were maybe excited for Cheyenne to get a job here for numerous reasons.
Yes.
She did, right?
The first one was that I didn't have to drive. That was the first reason. Yeah.
That's awesome.
Well, I know your dad has influenced you in a lot of ways. He's also influenced you coaching-wise. Mm-hmm. So tell us a little bit about your coaching philosophy and kind of how your dad has impacted that.
Mm-hmm. So, my dad, he coached from 87, 88 until he passed. He passed in 2011. Mm-hmm. So back then in the 80s and the 90s, it was not very common that the coaches were holistic, and my dad was one of the first ones that I've noticed in the professional realm in Mexico that was very holistic, and that it was because of his Christian background. So he will. It was very. I think that he was very ahead of his time in a lot of things tactically and all this, but also spiritually, because back then it was not very common to have a Christian a coach. Mm-hmm. It was mostly Catholics or non-religious. Yeah. So he will inspire me because he will try to lead the players, professional players, to the Lord, doing Bible studies and things like that. So the way that he treated the players, it was also very, very approachable, very personal. The person first, and then the athlete. Yeah. So that's one of the things that I took from him.
Yeah, it's always amazing to see just God's work in our life and how you got this picture of him, and then now you coach at Southwest Christian University, right? Mm-hmm. And then here at OCS, and just taking that opportunity to be able to learn from him. And so, what else about the influence of him with soccer, or are there other coaches who helped you develop in your time as a soccer coach to bring you to who you are today in your philosophy? Yeah,
I mean, obviously, mostly my father, because when I started college, I will go and do some summer camps with him when he was doing the preseason and stuff like that. So I will always be, in the locker room or in his office listening to conversations with his assistants and the players. Mm-hmm. But it's funny though. But in the dental world, I had two mentors would help me. They helped me with organizing things and have like a goal and things like that. And they help. And I just translate those type of things to soccer. Yeah. So try to take things from everybody that I admire, and then just bring them to soccer.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. So take us through a normal day in your life. You teach here for us. Just kind of talk about from the time you wake up, kind of what it looks like, even going through all the practices, and obviously season's starting here soon.
Yeah. So me and my wife, we wake up at 4:15 in the morning. Wow. And we go to the gym. That's the only time that we have to do it. Yeah. So we go to the gym and then get here before 7:30. Mm-hmm. That's my plan. So I have that hour, to kind of prep things and for the day. I teach Spanish 1 and 2. Yeah. And then when that's over, normally in season, I will go to my office here at OCS and I try to prep the plan for the session that I'm gonna have. And when I'm off season at OCS, I am in season in college, so
Yeah.
I will use that 7 hour to drive to SCU and get the girls going over there. So
Yeah.
pretty busy.
Very busy.
Yeah.
Very busy. It's awesome.
What do you love most about coaching, and what keeps you in it? What keeps you driving?
Yeah, I think it's the people, like the players, like just the interaction with the athletes, and seeing them achieve, goals or things that they probably thought it was not possible to do, and then you see that they can do it. I think that's a thing that always makes me proud and makes me happy, and just the interactions with them, being with young people makes you. It makes me feel energized. So sometimes they drain you, but but still, like it's a good feeling to watch him accomplish things. So
when you get to see it on a couple of different levels, right? You get to see kids. I mean, we start soccer here in 6th grade, right? So then going through middle school and high school, but then you also get to see it as a young adult, right, in the college realm, and so that's a pretty wide variety. So what do you love most about coaching here at OCS?
All the people, all the coaches that I coach, in all the sports, like I get along with everybody. Everybody's very open to, since we're a small school, everybody has to talk about it, how to share the players, and I haven't had any issues with anybody, so it's always been great. And the kids are very, very well behaved, respectful, and hard worker. At least my team. So, but I know everybody. I hear from everybody. That's the way it is. Yeah.
But except for that track coach,
she needs to fix some things.
So talk about that, because you all are sharing some you all have athletes you're sharing this year, right? That are doing soccer and track. So I think that is a unique thing. There's some other schools that do it, but it's very difficult to communicate and set expectations, and for that to be a positive experience for kids, and just talk about what that looks like.
Yeah, well, I think that my perspective is we're in high school, and obviously there's going to be kids that they're pursuing a career in college, but we have a lot of them that they don't, but they're good athletes. So I feel like it's great to have that mentality that we want to win, but also like we want them to enjoy this time, to have fun, So that's one of the things that I've learned as I get older, is always remember that that this is a game and this should be fun. Yes, we want to be competitive, but it needs to be fun. So sharing the athletes is the same concept. It's just, what is your priority sport? That's how me and Cheyenne do it. And I say, okay, she's a track girl. So, but she can help us on soccer field. So she might come in one or twice with us, and then she goes majority of the time with the track. And just communication, like if they did a really hard workout with her or me, I will just communicate and say, hey, and then, have them save their legs, and so they don't get hurt and all that, which is the most important thing.
Yeah. Well, I think how much that benefits both programs, right? Because if either coach kind of put their foot down, then maybe your program now doesn't have a really good player, or her program doesn't have a really good athlete. And then also how good it is for the kid, because I think about the success your program has had, really been able to play at a high level and been able to send multiple kids to colleges, Division I, just in different areas. And so I feel like it's kind of been the best of all worlds. It's been a positive experience for the kids. So.
Yeah, I mean, the kids are fantastic. So, yeah.
So I know you've been coaching for a while. You've been coaching in high school now and college. What have you seen changed in your time of coaching?
Well, that's funny, because coaching-wise, like I always helped my dad. I was, kind of his assistant towards the end of his career. So I learned a lot but that was a professional level, national team level. But me as a head coach, all my experience has been in America. So I want to say it's a very different culture in Mexico and in the U.S., especially soccer-wise. It's very different. So what I've seen in this maybe 13, 14 years that I've been coaching here in the U.S. is a little bit of the commitment sometimes on the players. And I'm talking more about college level and just the professionalism of it. Like, I think there's a turn in the last year from now, but it was a period of time like 2 years or three that it was very sketchy. Like they didn't want to work hard, and they whine and complain a little bit more, and then they don't want to work, but then they want results, and it was a little bit of confusion there. And then some of the parents were also very vocal, which never happened to me ever in college.
Yeah.
And I will get emails, or they will come up to me and say, "Well, my girl is not playing." And I was like, "What?"
Yeah.
So that's one of the things that like I said, but now it feels like the trend is going back to a little bit more like work ethic and hustle, and
that's good.
accountability.
Yeah, I think a lot of high school coaches don't think that college coaches have some of those headaches and everything from parents. So that's interesting.
Yeah.
So what advice would you give coaches who are just starting out in the profession? You've got some, a young assistant who's starting out as a coach. What advice do you give younger coaches, or if you were to go back and talk to yourself at that young age?
I think just to remember that it's a game, and that in order for to have results or to have success, the players need to be happy and content, so they are the most relaxed, and that's when I think, at least in my sport, that's when they play the best.
Yeah.
And just to enjoy the journey, because it goes by really fast. Like I'm older now, so I'm like, oh man, it went 15 years like that.
Yeah.
So really enjoy it and try to savor every season, and not get so focused on the tactical and the video, this or that, which is good to do it, but not get obsessed, I would say. So
Well, I have a daughter that is in soccer right now. She's playing club soccer, and I'm a parent in that world, not a coach in that world. So give us some advice for parents that have kids in athletics. It can be in athletics in general or in soccer. Like, how do I not yell from the sideline? Like, you have to get back on defense.
Well, my first question is to the parents is always like, how old is your daughter? Because that to me,
she's 6.
Yeah. So for starters, I'd be like, for me, it's at that age, especially between 6 and probably 10 or 11 years old, is 10 maybe. It's have fun. Yeah. Like, just have fun, let them play, and little by little, they're gonna be, when they hit 11, 12, 13, they will have more tactical things and fundamentals and things. But right now, and it depends on the sport as well, because there are sports that are more technical than others. So you do have to spend a lot of time, perfection in your craft. So, but if you take the fun out of it, eventually it's gonna be a big burnout, and that's what happens in high school a lot of times.
Yeah.
I think I saw a graph the other day, and it was like only 7 or 8% of kids that play sports in high school really go to college. So that's very low.
Yeah.
I mean, what if you have a wife who played at a high level and is, you gotta get on them. You gotta get going. We gotta get, like, what are we doing?
So it's interesting because you say that, and we were in a tournament this last weekend in Norman, and I stayed for one game, and then I left for the other, or her second game, and my wife stayed for both, and she was just like, I don't know what she's out there doing sometimes. Like, it's one of those things of like, they're 6, but like they still gotta focus. But like, usually I'm yelling from the sideline, stop doing cartwheels on the sideline. Stop.
That's right.
I have to tell that to some of the high schoolers.
That's right. Keeping the fun in it. The fun. Yeah.
Well, because we see them in high school, and sometimes we see burnout. I know I have in basketball. If a kid, I saw them as a 6th grader, and man, they were just almost being a professional. They were doing it all the time. And then all of a sudden, I've got them as a junior, and they're like, I'm so tired of basketball. And it's like, well, now is when we need you. Just have fun as a 6th grader, so we get to kind of see a little bit farther down the road. So what advice do you give players, so talk about kind of younger players, or even if they're coming into your program, I mean, and maybe they've even had some success at the club level, but they're coming to a really good team. Maybe you've got some older kids or something. Just what is your overall advice for players who are playing soccer youth, middle school, and high school.
Yeah, so there is a difference between the way that I approach a high school and the way I approach the college level. So in the high school, they're still developing a lot in a lot of areas, right? So my emphasis is a lot on it's okay if you make mistakes. Like teach them to learn to move on from the mistakes that they make on the field, or decisions that they make that didn't go as well, or we did, and just get them to be mentally tough and to just move on fast, and then just keep working hard. Don't stop. It's only. I always tell them that there's two mistakes that you can make. The first mistake is the one that you make. And that's okay. I'll let you live with that one.
Right.
But the second mistake is dwelling in that mistake, and that's when that's not okay. Yeah. So you're okay making the first mistake.
Yeah. Short memory.
Yeah.
Short memory.
Yeah.
I'll say that's something I've learned from you. I mean, I've been coaching. This is, I think, year 20. But in watching you on the sidelines, you just don't dwell on things that are happen. And soccer's such a fluid game, right? Kind of like basketball.
Yeah.
It's very fluid, and so you can't hesitate or get down on yourself on one mistake. And I'll often hear you on the sidelines, oh, unlucky, let's go, keep going, and it's like you're just trying to get them to, what's next, right? What is the next play? And so that's a great job.
Well, I mean, as we wrap up, can you give us a highlight of kind of what you guys are going to look like, your expectations for the team this year?
Yeah, so we had the full team first practice yesterday. That was the first time that we got all of them yesterday, and it was a lot of fun. It was the energy was really high. I was very surprised with everybody's just like touches, and because you think we have like 6 or 8 girls coming from basketball, and it's always in the back of your head like, oh, they've just been using their hands, so how's it gonna look now with using their feet?
You can't catch them.
No, but it was great. So I'm very excited, and I think that the girls that were out for soccer all this time, they saw it too and they felt it too. And they got really excited. They got pumped. So, our expectations are high, and it's just gonna be like whatever God wants us, how far we can get there. So.
Well, it's always interesting because like when so we as a basketball coach we get guys from football, and football season's long, right? And so you get them, and I think we had a game just within a day or two, and as a coach, when my season's done, I'm pretty spent. Like I'm like, man, I need some rest time. Yeah. And those players can just go from one to the other, and just it's amazing what they're able to do and just bounce back. I'm not built like that anymore.
No. I mean, we actually had the case of Blair Rowlett that it was coming from basketball as well. Yeah. And we had a conversation the other day, and she said, Coach, we're done now. Is it okay if I can miss the first 2 practices? I said, yeah, you can. Yeah. And then she came and she was helping me on the sidelines, watching. And obviously, eventually she was like, I think I can play now. And I was like, no, let's do that too. Let's rest, Yeah. But yes, it's very important because they're nonstop. So
I mean, that's been something, our girls basketball team, I was just telling somebody earlier today, like they had the most wins in at least my 11 years here. Coach Devlin's done a really good job with that program. And then yet those same girls that played in a high level and helped that team reach the success can now bring that experience, into soccer. And, I've got a young man who's playing on my basketball team, and we're still in playoffs, and he'll be going to baseball next. And same thing, our football team was able to make the semifinals. And those guys kind of bring that winning attitude and that experience and everything to it. And so it's really cool to see those kids mesh of, there's been some that have been in the gym for a couple months, but then you add these kids that coming from football, and just the chemistry that can come from that is pretty incredible. So.
And I think that's one of the things that I've learned here, and that's the one thing that I don't like is very unfortunate how the seasons overlap. Yeah. But there's nothing we can do about it, right, other than just support them and encourage them, and then when they're ready to come. To us, like try to help them kind of like refresh their legs. And our roster right now is deep enough that we can do that. Yeah. So I'm excited about that too, because the last 2 years we were very short in our roster. Right. Yeah. And I mean, the girls still did amazing. But now we have a bigger roster, so I'm excited that I can give some girls some breaks that they probably need. Yeah. So that's a good thing.
The toughest thing about spring is y'all season's so short.
So short.
I mean, you start March 1st, and really by mid to late April, you're starting playoffs. and then you might go into May, right, first or second week if we make it far. That's kind of the benefit we have in the winter is, we start really 1st of December, but we may go through March. You got 3 or 4 months that you're going for. And so it is interesting, and it can be difficult, but it can also be a great opportunity that's there whenever they do. So, yeah.
Yeah.
Well, Juan, thank you for joining us.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Remember to like and subscribe down at the bottom. If you have any questions or comments, remember to hit us up at theathleticsoffice@gmail.com. Thanks for joining us today.